following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
What is up, everybody? Welcome. Hey, how are you? It is time. It's Friday night. Everybody, it is time for the War Room. As my friends unmute their mics, get ready to say hello to my buddies, the author himself, David, and Channel Dad. What's up, fellas?
Thank you, one and all. Great to be here. I think it's going to be an interesting month.
You should get that microphone close to your mouth.
Hey, what?
Yeah, you're real soft.
Okay, hold on. What's happened here? That's odd. How about
That's
now?
a good jam, ain't it? That is called a synthetic pain or something. It's wonderful.
Synthetic pain? How's that?
You're still really quiet. I'm gonna look at.
That is weird.
Mine seems to be like, yeah. You just seem really, really soft. Let's see if I can adjust audio controls. I don't know. I'll turn you up a little louder.
Yeah, I am lower compared to you.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
You really need to have that microphone closer to your mouth.
Yeah, the problem
Are
is
you running an XLR microphone or a USB?
This is USB.
Then you need to be a fist width.
If it's too close, I start getting pops.
Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you, David. These microphones are very finicky and they're directional and they need to be real close.
Yeah, I know they're finicky, but so I've recorded it. I've recorded a lot of videos with this mic where I've had all I've done is, I've recorded video, and they all come out different audio levels.
Yeah. Hey, so Jesse Jackson's funeral, what was that, today? Did you guys hear anything from that?
Yeah, Kamala turned it into a political shit show again.
Oh, Mr. Biden decided he was going to come and insult a bunch of people. I got the clip right here.
If I told you all earlier, when I was a kid, I had a cleft palate, a club foot, none of you would have laughed. But it's okay to laugh at stuttering. I'm not being critical of you, but think about it. It's the one place where people think you're stupid. Oh, really? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you. But all kidding aside, if I told you all...
What a dingus.
I'm smarter than everybody. I'm smarter than everybody. I can say it.
He's so stupid. Anyway,
They're all
I saw
self-congratulating.
that and thought, wow.
They all think they're smarter than everybody else. We're liberals, therefore we're the most intelligent species on the planet. We're evolved. We're evolved, I tell you.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, it's just a lot of stupidity going on right now. I'll turn this...
I can parrot the professor. That makes me intelligent. Shut up, extra chromie.
Yeah. So...
Cleft palate. My grandmother had a cleft palate, okay? A lot of people had... it's basically misuse of the forceps. Squeeze the baby's head too much. Break the little...
I didn't know that.
They break the little bone. Yeah.
I saw something today about the new... let's see, what is it? Secretary... Homeland Security Secretary. Markwayne Mullen. Kristi Noem's out. She got apparently demoted to another job. She's still in the administration. I don't know how, but I don't really care for her. But I mean, they should fire Pam Bundy instead.
I was going to say that. I was saying to many people, I do not mind if Kristi Noem is demoted. This happens, right? You know, she was a little over her depth. But my complaint is there's only a few people in Trump's administration, Marco Rubio and the Commerce Secretary. The rest, I think it doesn't matter, except for maybe Homeland Security, and which is why I can say that's a job that if you're overwhelmed, you split the job or lower demote you, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, would one of you guys pull your camera real quick so we can see the bottom portion of this? I'm gonna play it here.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place.
I'm gonna get stuck with the song, but
we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it
we'll
here.
See.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right
love
now.
to.
Let's stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, everybody?
Stands up. Says, what's up, son? He said, what up, son?
You're a United States Senator.
He said, you're a United States Senator. Shut up, Bernie. Shut your face. Hold on.
Bernie's a fascist, everybody, and you know it.
Come on, back on, stupid camera. There it goes.
Bernie's a fascist. Everybody knows it.
Oh, my gosh. He's like, you are a United States Senator. My favorite Bernie Sanders impression is Steven Crowder doing Gilbert Godfrey Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Have y'all heard that?
Liberals.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Liberals lacking in basic education. Late, you're muted. And he's laughing.
Yeah.
No, you're still muted, Late.
I think it's your own microphone is muted.
He's checking it now.
Can you hear me now, finally?
Yes.
Yes.
You got to stop muting yourself.
Apparently. So, yeah, I don't know anything about this new guy. I mean, Kristi Noem was good as a governor, but she just turned into Photoshop Barbie.
Yeah.
Or photo op Barbie.
Yeah, discount. I was going to say discount Pam Bondi.
Yeah. I mean, but she was actually doing her job so well. She had people doing her job, and she showed up for the credit. Now, I will say this, David. I would put RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard in that stack of people who are actually doing what they're supposed to do when Trump doesn't get in their way. And Trump has gotten in their way several times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Half the cabinet is overperforming and the other half is underperforming. You got to bring the other half up.
I mean, Tulsi Gabbard has given what 3 different. They've offered up. I know at least 2, if not 3 things to the Department of Justice that are slam dunk evidence and everything.
Election
nothing
interference,
happens.
Organized election fraud.
Yeah.
Organized covering up of Epstein. None of that.
Yeah. Well, it's my friends are on that list. Well, then you need to burn your friends.
Speaking of the list, what is the deal with Trump being like? There's some kind of new something about him allegedly being like.
There's new allegations against Trump.
Yeah, it's. I think it's the same old bull crap that just gets recycled.
Gotcha.
As many people have commented, if this were true, Biden would have had you center stage during the election. It would have been every news cycle 24/7 for the entire election. October surprise? No, it would have been the nonstop election. That's the only thing they would have run on.
Yep.
But instead, they keep talking about these 34 convictions and these bankruptcies. None of that's relevant, okay? Everybody knows that's liberal persecution. Take Trump Towers. What was it? It turned out he was only 10% shareholder in that. How's he responsible for a bankruptcy when he's only 10% the shareholder, right? It's the same with Trump Casino. He was only a minor shareholder in that as well. And all of Atlantic City went broke. Not just one casino. All of Atlantic City went broke. Atlantic City cooked itself by putting up the rates and basically made everything over 30,000 square foot unprofitable.
Yeah.
Liberals lack context. They lack nuance. All they want is the gotcha moment, right? And they run that stupid moment over and over again, appearances. They're the organ grinders monkey.
Yeah. Hey, to skip it, we're just going to bounce around a few different things, and then we can land on one topic or something for a little while. But did you guys see where the CEO of McDonald's was did that video where he ate a burger or ate a bite of a burger?
He took a bite of a burger. That was probably his first burger, and true to Krusty Burger style, as soon as the camera was out, he went, "Oh, I almost swallowed that."
Well, there's a still where it looks like he's spitting it out in the napkin.
Yeah. That's what I said. Krusty Burger. It's Krusty Burger.
I just it's crazy.
What you know what's even crazier?
What?
But he got mogged. Look up McDonald's mogged by Burger King.
Oh yeah. They did all kinds of stuff to him, man.
Burger King, Wendy's, they all did it. At Wendy's we eat our burgers. Was it Wendy's or Arby's? We eat our burgers.
I think Wendy's was saying
Arby's is sliced roast beef.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, Wendy's ate the burger, and then Burger King did one too, but he took like a real bite.
Yeah, he said all that was missing was the napkin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
So
absolutely right. You all know the napkin reference if you've seen Krusty Burger, the Krusty Burger episode.
Well, everybody's like aligning that up to the SpongeBob episode where Squidward actually takes a bite of a Krabby Patty.
Huh.
He's like,
well,
just a little itty bitty like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, these people don't eat. Obviously, he doesn't need it because he called it a product. He's like, this is my favorite product. I love it.
Yeah. And he got absolutely roasted by the team he fired. See, when the McDonald's brothers started shelling off their shares, they sold them to all these corporate types, thinking that it'll take the cut. You know, if I reduce my shares, I'll make more money from the company becoming worth more. But instead, they've seen the decline in revenue, they've seen decline in profits, and they've seen nothing but more shares traded, right? It's McDonald's has turned into where the product is the share price.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they're at their peak, they sell off stores, and then none of these stores make any money and they buy them back for less. And then they put them into hiatus and try and rinse and repeat. But it's not working. People are not going to buy McDonald's for $5 million. They're already overvalued at $1 million. This is about McDonald's trying to save itself from oblivion. Well, they'll go the way of Pizza Hut. They'll turn into a subsidiary of Yum Foods or Nestle they're doomed as an individual standalone company.
Yeah, I mean, all these foods are technically not foods. They're products.
Yeah. I'm just saying, there are those that industry who went from titans like Pizza Hut to I'm now a subsidiary of a big conglomerate and I'm worth less than my, I'm worth less when, this is the problem when they've got more shares, they got a lot of share value, but their profitability is below that of a toilet scrub.
Sorry, I'm losing my mind. I hit my AB switch on my keyboard mouse combo, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing?
Why?
I don't know why. Because it looks, my keyboard, in my trackball, I share with my business computer right for work.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Now
you guys keep chatting. I'm gonna go to the bath. I had this afternoon. I was because we suddenly got warm today, and it's been warm in this office. I was sucking down water like a camel just got out of the Sahara, and now I'm getting rid of it like I've sprung a leak. So you guys keep chatting. I'll be right back.
All right.
I was going to say, is it wireless? Because sometimes if you bang your keyboard and it's wireless, you suddenly find yourself all on the same channel and everything's interfering with each other.
Yeah, dude, I hate that because then the batteries get all the
batteries. Yeah, when the battery gets down too. Yeah, it goes from. You need a lot of battery power to be on the B channel, apparently.
Yes, for sure.
So, yeah, you do save money and time, but cables, it's the only way to go.
I forgot to post that we're live.
Oh man. I forgot. I'm pretty sure McDonald's screwed themselves by backing Proposition 15 in California. 15 for 15. $15 for fast food workers, which they thought would drive all the other companies out of business. But then all the other franchises in other states said, yeah, we're not going to subsidize you in California. Yeah. Well, putting up the franchise fees.
Yeah, none of this stuff, all this 15 for 15, it doesn't, I don't understand why these people think it's going to do anything. All it's going to do is have to make you pay more later.
It doesn't even last 3 months, right? Your pay boost goes within 3 months on inflation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt the people who don't buy. If you don't buy fast food, you don't notice it. But because all the fast food places that close, because people go, well, I might as well just make a sandwich or go to Subway or anything. And then they'll go from Subway to your local who doesn't hire anybody, who's only open a few hours a day because they can't afford staff. So they only open in the mornings and they're closed by 3.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But they'll go there, order 2 subs and eat one at night because you can stick a sub in the fridge and know that it's going to be, because it's not cooked.
Especially if you get a cold cut sub.
Yeah, cold. Yeah.
Now, if you get a hot sub, it kind of makes it miserable to reheat it.
No, but that's what I mean. They go to a sandwich shop, get a cold cut chicken or a cold cut beef and stick one in the fridge.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper to buy 2 footlongs from your local non-franchise than it is to buy one sub from your franchise. But yes, the local guy, there's fewer of them, and they close early because they can't afford staff. They can't afford to stay open on the weekends because of insurance and
their family.
And most of them aren't cash. A lot of these aren't cash businesses as well because they can't afford the cash security bond. You're putting everybody out of business and you're thinking the economy is going to improve. No, it doesn't. It's like double income. It's like when society went from one income household to two income households. Inflation spiraled for the next 20 years. And it's still, in fact, unstable. Because now you've got DEI hires, you've got mandatory hiring practices. That's another thing that put a lot of fast food out of business. Coming in and firing half the staff and saying you've got to hire women and minorities when there's none. So
I mean, I don't know that necessarily killed anything because that's mainly the.
I'm talking about maybe high-end franchises where you had professional chefs and skilled workers making.
But that's not. You're not going to find that in fast food. This fast food is usually for your fresh out of high school people.
Yeah, I'm talking about the upper end of franchises.
Okay.
Because they had to fire a lot of their staff to replace them with
people that are unqualified.
Yeah, people who are unqualified, and most didn't work.
Yeah.
Even in fast food, you're finding that you go into McDonald's these days and you'll see 3-4 people standing around not doing anything, but the state makes sure you can't fire them. The unions make sure you can't fire them.
Yep.
And some people wonder why they're not liked. Well, I'm pretty sure also another thing that killed fast food, probably the biggest thing that killed fast food, was the government, okay? Sales tax, insurance, which is a hidden tax, the hidden fuel tax, and the biggest cost, the rents, right? Absolutely. One of the things that killed McDonald's, why they started getting rid of playgrounds, was insurance, but also to put more cars in. You know, they had to increase their parking lot. But when they increased their parking lot, not only did their insurance go up, but their rates went up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you gotta improve everything to,
to get that 150%
painted fake
pay rise
on concrete.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm just seeing now that apparently Iran painted fake planes on the concrete so the U.S. would think that they were real and drop bombs on them, realizing they've been deceived.
Nah, I'm pretty sure that the US don't just rely on visual target acquisition. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of your so-called visual acquisition is actually, I forget the name of the process. You know, when you take a radar image and colorize it, make it into a picture. Yeah, it's concrete. It's flat. Don't fool radar. No, I did hear that it turned out Iran does have a lot of bunkers in the mountains because they were expecting a land invasion from Iraq. But now they've got a problem. Kurds who are coming through those mountains, dropping little sticks of dynamite down their air holes. Doesn't matter how deep you are, that air hole is your lifeline.
Yeah.
So they just blow the air holes, fill them in.
They need to do something. I mean, do you really think that we're heading for a full-on war?
Slowly. China's been provoking it for the last 40 years.
Do you think it's World War III?
Oh, yeah. China and India propaganda.
Do you think China and India would be the backbone to push this conflict in Iran to a further level?
No, I think they'll push for more smaller wars in a series of build-ups to either collapse America or Russia, and then just basically control them by proxy. The same way they collapsed Europe, the same way they're collapsing the UK as we speak. They don't want a massive uprising in Europe. They don't want a massive uprising. They don't want America to come in and rescue the UK. They want Americans divided, confused, and arguing politics.
That's a good point, because we are so focused on what Trump did that we're not paying attention to the fact that
they're
China...
so focused on Epstein. How many girls did Epstein molest? 100, 200? Around 500?
Don't know.
Nobody knows for certain. We only have 6 lawsuits and 100 settlements. So let's take that as the bulk. How many children molested by school teachers just last year alone?
A lot.
And how many arrests?
Not many.
Yeah. How many states, including California, has never prosecuted a school teacher since coming to power? Not every blue governor right now. How many of them have actually... Right, when they were prosecutors, which most governors have been, right, prosecutors, they prosecuted a lot of people, right, predominantly murderers, but have they any of them ever done child molestation cases or gone after child molesters? Once you start to figure out and go down that rabbit hole and see that California, Governor Newsom and others, right, Kamala, 9,000. But what happened when they got into positions of power? Those cases became 0. And they started releasing pedophiles in California. There is something severely mentally disturbed about liberals, because they do not seem to comprehend even the most basic information. You tell them something and they won't believe it. They won't even look it up. And if they do look it up, they tell you it's fake news or misinformation or Russian information.
What's up, Late? You're muted.
I'm looking up. I know I'm muted.
Okay.
He wasn't.
Look up. Trains up in the sky.
I'm not saying all child molestation cases have disappeared, but they've disappeared from the media, and the majority of prosecutions are slaps on the wrist, if there's any. Minnesota.
Do you think with the new declassification that we're going to start seeing people being arrested?
Well, we're supposed to have seen people arrested in Florida and facing the death penalty, but apparently there's a federal statute which makes these cases unable to be publicized. So even if anybody's arrested, they can't tell you, which is ridiculous. But they say, oh, if you identify the criminal, you identify the victim. Yep. So so liberals have made it so that they have a political narrative where they can go around and claim, right, that all these people are pedophiles, but none of them can be arrested somehow, and none of them are arrested somehow. No Democrat has ever, Adam Schiff has never produced any evidence whatsoever in 20 years of accusations, yet they keep believing him. Yesterday, I saw a video claiming that Ukraine is on a major offensive, yet there's no information to back it up, and thousands of people watch the video. They do this every day. But you actually go to Ukraine's own media, and they're telling you that this town has fallen. Every day, Ukraine is announcing another town fallen to Russia.
Yep.
And yet
nobody's doing anything.
Nobody wants the truth. That's the problem. They want politics. They want their fifis tickled every day.
Yeah.
Well, what they want what they believe to be validated.
Yes. They want to be told they're fighting Nazis, that they're the resistance, while doing nothing.
Yeah.
They think violence is a protest until violence is done to them, and then they cry.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And yet they'll call January 6th a violent protest, even though the only violence came from the left.
That's how it always comes, though. It's always from the left. There was a time that there was a huge march in my state's capital over gun rights. Not a single person at that protest did anything.
only
They even
arrests-
picked up trash.
There were lots of visible guns too.
Yeah, they made the place that they were at better than when they got there.
Yeah. Well, do you guys remember? It was Glenn Beck's thing. It was part of the 9/12 project. He had a demonstration, if you will, in D.C. where they had different religions. They had all kinds of things, and it was cleaner when they were done. I forget how many people were on the mall than when they started. Somebody actually lost their wallet, and it got turned into Capital City Police, and they said, "We cannot believe this. Everything was there." And then Stephen Colbert, about a month later, had a counter protest, a third as many people, and the place looked like a trash truck had exploded.
I saw this interview. There was this 20th anniversary for a protest, and this girl is calmly telling how a group of men grabbed her and took turns raping her, and she said it was and still claimed that the hippie fest was the greatest time of her life. She was raped at a hippie fest, right?
So I'm not laughing at that. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
There's a video where this dude's going through Walmart and he's buying stuff, like he's pulling stuff off the shelf and putting a barcode on it, and then trying to go take it to checkout and like buy it. Like he knocked a ceiling tile out of the drop ceiling, stuck a barcode tag on it, and then took it through checkout. And they were like, "Where'd you get this?" And he goes, "I was on the shelf, and
it won't work.
I need a replacement.
Barcode won't work."
Yeah. Anyway.
No, liberals are just so brain dead that it's getting to the point where it's going to be like Orwell. They'll just sit there like absolute, no one's home.
Well, look at how often various Marxists or even fascists have used liberals to overthrow the government.
And then execute them.
And then, Lenin used them, Stalin used them.
Hitler used them, Mussolini used them.
In some ways,
Ayatollah used them. Venezuela, Cuba.
79 in Iran. And yet they keep coming back like, oh, this time it's going to be different. We're not going to get killed. I mean, it just...
Yeah, this time will be different. Yeah, every time. That wasn't real communism. Yes, it was.
It's like just like Michael Savage says, liberalism is a mental disorder. It really is. I don't even know what to call it liberalism anymore. It's just...
It's not
because liberalism, in the sense of the 18th century, will be end up with the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. That's very different. But yeah, it's just like these left politics start in the late 1880s, and it just goes downhill.
Yeah, like every liberal democracy has ended in fascism all the way back to Athens, when the birth of democracy fell. Okay, liberal academics cannot reconcile their beliefs of free speech, hate speech, and speech they hate. They cannot fathom that they always start with banning speech against them, right?
Yeah.
Against their open society is not progressive. It's nothing new. You go back to Plato when he's talking about the boy buggerers and the animal molesters, right?
Well, I would say when depravity becomes the norm, it's too late.
Yeah.
And when it's hidden in the shadows, you're good. But as soon as it becomes a norm, it's like it emerging is the tipping point. And when it's the norm, it's too late.
Yeah. Even in Victoria era, she said, was it Queen Victoria herself who says, "I cannot stand these buggerers."
Yeah, but also that was the time of seances and other satanic rituals too. So
Yeah, it was already too late. Yeah.
yeah, the buggers were the least of your problems.
Yeah. But she was surrounded by boy buckarers who didn't give a fuck about Britain. All they wanted was their,
Well, I'll say, that's why that axiom, hard time, bad times make hard men men make good times, good men make good times make weak men make hard times.
Yeah.
And just that cycle. And sometimes that cycle is a couple generations, and sometimes it's 100 years.
Yeah, but as we look at history, Egypt lasted 5,600 years. I'm talking about the main Egyptian society. There was an upper middle kingdom and all these other kingdoms and post empire kingdoms.
So you're going to count the Ptolemies in there too, then?
That's the end.
Yeah.
Before the Ptolemies to the first pharaohs, there was 25 generations of the same family ruling Egypt, and they did a very good job at it. But they got old, they got tired, they got corrupt. Their family lines came to an end because of inbreeding.
Well, then they fell to the Romans, just like everyone else.
But the Ptolemies already had infiltrated.
Right, but the Greek, right? Now, how did the Ptolemies come to power? Was that a cross marriage with Greeks?
Cross marriage.
Okay.
Yeah. The last pharaohs had no daughters, so they couldn't inbreed. Okay. So they had to quickly, desperately find women of value and nobility, and they couldn't because they'd killed off all their rivals long through right. So they had nobody to marry. Right, they had they controlled everything, but the Ptolemies were the only merchants who were brave enough, and strong enough to trade with Egypt.
Yeah.
Who weren't
Roman. Speaking of like Middle East stuff, did you see where the Pakistani man was on trial in Brooklyn? Admits Iran recruited him to assassinate the TRUMP at a rally.
Yeah.
He testified Iranian leaders gave him a sketch of the rally site. Told him to hire hitmen, even paid undercover FBI agents thousands, thinking they were killers, all while writing plans on a hotel napkin.
Apparently,
was that the thing in Florida?
I think it was Butler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, Trump had been stalling Iran for about a month while putting together the... a lot of people don't know this. How many war plans does America have?
Probably quite a few, depending on what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You have a couple of dozen war plans for every country. How you going to rescue them? How you going to, sabotage them? How you going to overthrow them? You got people working on that every day and keeping everything up to date, making sure that if the president says we've got to hit Guam tomorrow, you have a plan, an outline ready to go.
Yeah.
But they updated, right? They've been stalling Iran for a month, right? And eventually Trump announced it, said to Israel that if you believe you have an imminent threat, go first. And if we believe you, if there is indeed a missile on the launch or whatever, right? If indeed Iran is preparing attacks on Israel and you want a preemptive strike, you take the hit, you take the risk. But if you're right, we'll back you up. And Iran panicked because they didn't know what was what. Meanwhile, they knew all along that they had captured the Iranian agent in America, and he was testifying behind closed doors to what they call it, the Congressional 8. Is that it? Congressional 8? The
Gang of 8.
National Security Committee?
Oh, yeah.
Gang of 8?
Yeah. That one.
But, yeah, that one. So they did have an imminent threat. Iran did indeed later, after the airstrikes, they showed that Iran had a missile ready to go. They were going to launch on Israel. Israel hit the missile first. But then Iran started attacking everybody, shutting down the Horn of Hormuz, starting launching drones. They attacked the US base. So basically it escalated from a few strikes to suddenly, hey, we're pounding you into oblivion. And they've hit more targets in one day than Ukraine in a month. to give you some scale, right? You have more aircraft over Iran. Two of the largest only one aerial battle. We've had no aircraft shot down. Right, we've had one drone. We've had allegations that a missile went rogue, and it turns out to be Iranian. But no, the media doesn't. Nobody, right? This is the problem with politics. Nobody wants the truth. An Iranian missile falls on a school. It's always America's fault, as far as the liberals are concerned.
Yeah, there was one that there was something that fell on a girls' school, but it's been identified as an American munitions.
No, it was Iranian.
Oh.
It was jammed. It went up. It hit a jamming field or whatever and fell back down.
But I wouldn't doubt if it was American made anyway, because we've been funding it for years.
American munitions, but it was, just because it was American munitions doesn't mean it was fired by America.
Right. But, I mean, you've got one branch of the government that's overthrowing CIA and installing boogeymen so that this other branch can go over and take the boogeymen out.
Yeah.
It's just basically what Eisenhower warned us about. And, in
the movie Conspiracy Theory, they told us there's a civil war. And Bill Gibson asked, which side are you on?
It's good for business, right? Peace is not profitable. War is.
Yeah.
So Eisenhower warned us. Nixon tried to do something about it. First Kennedy tried to do something about it, and they see what happened to him. RFK was then full of piss and vinegar to do something about it, and they did the same thing to him. And Nixon, they were like, well, we've killed a president and a presidential candidate. We can't shoot a third one. So let's just remove him with a break-in, a bullcrap break-in.
Which was organized by his press secretary, who turned out to be a Democrat operative.
Well, and then the reporter who got wind of it somehow by Deep Throat was a Navy intelligence.
And Deep Throat turned out to be the Deputy Director of Intelligence for the FBI, who was at the meeting planning the break-in.
Of course.
He planned the break-in. That's how he knew all the
set
details.
Up, Nixon would take the fall. Ford was already in as vice president, and he was one of them. He was on the Warren Commission to make sure nothing got learned there. And that was his reward. And then that ushered in Carter.
Yeah. His reward for the cover-up was to get to be the unelected president of the United States.
Jimmy Carter.
But if they thought they could have shot Nixon and gotten away with it, they would have done it. But too many eyeballs were watching, so they removed him a different way. And then they thought Reagan was going to play. Yeah. He went. They shot him. He survived, and he wasn't quite the same after. But again, look who surrounded him. All the same, blowhards every time.
And Nixon gave that famous interview to Walter Cronkite. Well, how do you feel? And he says, well, I spoke with LBJ. And he says, well, they got you too, eh?
Hey, we got 5 people watching over on Rumble. Hello, Rumble. How are you? Hope you're doing well. And comment.
Rumble, yeah, Rumble.
Yeah. Well, as Roger Stone claims that in a chat with Nixon about the election, he had chatted, it was about being president and LBJ. Nixon said something to the effect of, both of us wanted to be president, but only one of us wanted to kill for it.
Yeah. He let Kennedy win because not so much it was Kennedy. I think it was the party machine. Okay, the hidden mechanism behind the election.
Yeah.
Well, that's been there for. If you could argue it started with Grant, if you really want to split hairs.
As I said, if you want to trace all the modern problems, all the modern wars, trace from a single decision from Wilson to abandon Europe, to abandon the pursuit of the rights of man and the protection of property, and go with the Rockefeller plan, right?
Woodrow Wilson?
Yeah, Woodrow.
Yeah. Well, and he also had the idea of the League of Nations and all that. Well, what's the League of Nations? Yes. Well, it's something that is superior to your government.
Yeah, that's it. It was but it was called the Rockefeller plan. But it was the installation of a world government.
Look at modern science, medicine, banking. Well, banking's a little bit more J.P. Morgan, but
Morgan, yeah.
John David Rockefeller is behind a lot of this stuff because he needed ways to, oil is scarce, which is false. Oil is a fossil fuel, which is false. They make oil, into medicines and plastics and stuff. I mean, I think the modern plastics are the problem when they try to cut out a lot of stuff is why we have the microplastic problem now. But it's amazing how many things go back to him. And it's either him or Carnegie or J.P. Morgan.
You forgot Ford.
Yep.
Well, Ford gave us the factory mindset, but he actually, in my view, he didn't revolutionize the concept of if my cars aren't cheap enough for my workers to buy, they're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
But he fought unions. He fought against a lot of that labor crap that the government was imposing.
I consider Ford the fulcrum, okay? He had a lot of good ideas, but in the modern era, they're poorly implemented.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with inheritance, right? That once the person with the concept is gone, it just Yeah. But you also the Vanderbilts and the railroads, they were railroad tycoons, and then they started selling off stuff, and then eventually you get people running the railroads that can't even spell railroad, right? So
yeah.
Now everybody is running an operation they don't deserve to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to fall back to the CEO of McDonald's. He's only CEO because he was next in line.
Yeah.
Look at the CEO of Microsoft. After the screw-ups of the last 6 months, how's that man still employed?
Because there's no shareholder.
But what happens, right? He's from India, and they bring in their buddies. It's like we brought people in who are not assimilating, right? They're not assimilating to the American melting pot. And it's like, it's not just them, this is what the Somalis have done. This is what the Muslims have done. This is, you can argue any of the non-assimilating pieces, whether they want to conquer or just take advantage of our generosity.
India's a neo-colonial power. So is China.
When my ancestors came to the States, they didn't have a choice, right? There was no welfare. They had to assimilate or perish.
Yeah, they had to learn English very quickly or beg.
But once we had welfare, that was out the board. And it's not everybody. I mean, I know a lot of people from various countries. Well, what are they doing? They're somewhat assimilating, right? They've had children here, so they're American citizens. They've strived to get their green card. And what's crazy is especially in the tech field, when I've encountered, there's certain types. I mean, and I don't want to sound like I'm pissing on Indians or Ukrainians, but and then there was a big push about 18 years ago for development in Ireland, but there was about 6 decent programmers in the whole country.
Yeah,
there's a reason they are back in those countries. They're not any good. Now, who knows what's going to happen with AI? But it's once that. And it's one thing to hold on to a little bit of your culture, right? A lot of places had Chinatowns and different stuff where that culture was held on to, but it was Americanized. It was highly Americanized. It wasn't fully what you would find. And I don't have a problem with that. But when it's like, no, it's my culture, my where I came from on your soil and nothing else, that's invasion.
It's my culture, my language, my holidays. And my people, I hire my people only, and they go up the ladder in every company doing that nepotism. But India is like I said, India. Now, here's a qualifier that I'll put for some Muslims. Some Muslims between the 50s and 80s, you would never know they were Muslim.
Well, they would consider them backsliders too, but
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. In other words, it was their religion, but they weren't going to force you to agree with it. So they were holding to the religious, the very thin religious side of the political movement that it is. That it's actually a political movement. It's not a religion more than anything.
That's what I'm saying. They're holding on. Yeah, but I'm saying the post World War II Muslims up until about the 80s are a total different breed from the Wahhabi radicals brought about by Soleimani and Bin Ami and all these salami heads from the Middle East who aren't really Muslims, okay? And some argue they're Mossad agents and all these other things without proof. That
Right.
You don't need proof.
Oh, I am so sick of that. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Jews, they're going to kill. It's like,
man, what, do the Jews rule the world or don't they? And if they rule the world, how come all these countries are attacking them?
yeah.
I heard a rumor. Well, like, I don't know if it's a rumor. I heard like a theory that it's not like the Jewish population that we've known for years, God's chosen people, but it's the Canaanites.
Yes, and they're mostly in New York
that occupy Israel.
No, it's not those in Israel. The problem stems from the people in New York who keep selling out Israel to the Saudis, to the Turks, to the Jordanians, to the Gazans, to the Syrians, anybody for profit, okay? They stir conflict against Israel in the Middle East to drive up the oil price.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, and you also, in a bigger picture, you have the two main issues, if you will. You have the actual Semitic Jews, we'll call them, who stayed in Israel after the Romans destroyed the temple. But then you also have the Ashkenazis, who, depending on whose version of history you want to believe, definitely were more of an Eastern European converts. And those are the non-religious, you could call them satanic, actually. These are the people that we always see on, the big noses and all that other crap, that wear the label. They do not follow Torah. And see, this is the thing, is if I want to get really splitting of hairs and get a purely religious discussion, Jews follow the Torah, and the Messianic Jews or Christians follow the fulfillment of the Torah through the New Testament. If you follow the Talmud, that is not a Jewish religious document in the effects of worship of Yahweh. And that's why I divide it. And it's like, you can have your Babylonian satanic Talmud, but you are in a label that is not yours.
No, but the thing is, the Babylonian text was translated in the 1834 by a German, along with several other texts, which included the Quran. And
that's from that same source too, as the Talmud.
Judaism went from, the Hammurabi tablet only had the Christian text in Greek. It didn't have the other, but the other languages were in their format. It was to actually show a commonality between the three religions, that each had the same passage about God.
Yeah.
But it turned out that the Hammurabi Code, was something put together after Hammurabi. He wasn't even alive when it was put together. It was
and that's about
Babylonian.
The judicial, criminal code, I guess you could call it. But
he codified religion in a certain way, and that gave birth to the Talmud. Now, the Talmud comes from
Hammurabi would have been in BC, though, right?
Yes.
Because I thought the Babylon Talmud was like 850 AD.
No, I'm talking about the texts that were eventually translated and turned into the Talmud. Because remember, they went from 18 tribes down to 11, down to 3. Right? They were warring with each other. And the Semites had committed how many genocides? They even put it in the Bible. Yeah, we killed the Canaanites, and we killed the Sidonites, and we killed all these Aramites. We killed them all. They're proud. And but the thing is, a lot of Jordanians are a mix of Arab and Canaanite and Semite and Hittites. All these people didn't just disappear, right? They weren't all genocided.
500 CE, but it starts with the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. So, and now I don't know, Seth, what you're fully getting at, but when the Israelis entered Canaan in the Promised Land, there were certain places, certain city states, we would call it nowadays, that were put under the bane, and some that were to be left alone. But the ones that were under the bane, this is the Moloch worshippers who were sacrificing children, and God had put them under judgment. They didn't destroy them all. And that's, I don't know about modern day. I don't think so, because I think Palestinians and others are more Arabic, which is Semitic. Okay.
Don't forget most of
a lot of the Palestinians are a mixture. In fact, what the rest of the Arab world calls them, you can't say because we're all too white. It's worse than the N word. Okay.
Yes.
So,
actually, it translates to mean house slave.
Yeah.
It's a much more derogative term than that.
Kind compared, because this is why they don't want, no Arab country wants them for a reason. Okay. We'll call them the gypsies of the Middle East to be kind, but
that's what the internet refers to them as.
Right. So, I don't think we still have any Canaanites and Moabites and
no
Esmerites and all the others. Right. I don't know.
What I meant was they are a mix. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
The people.
No. Yeah, I get that. But he was asking about
fled.
Canaanites, and I don't think we have them anymore. But it's so. But from the Jewish side, you have essentially the people who are, I would argue, of true Semitic origin, and then you have the Ashkenazis that I really don't know what to deal with. I've heard arguments on both sides. The genetic tests have disproved or proved. The same evidence can't support both arguments, but there definitely is an influx of more Europeanized, we'll say, Jews into that area, and they are from where the Zionism comes from, and similar. And I can't remember if it's Assyrian captivity or Babylonian captivity. One of the captivities, when they returned, what became known as the Samaritans were Jews who were not taken, but could not worship in Jerusalem. So Mount Moriah, I forget the name of the mountain that they hold sacred. And that causes a division. Right.
That's the problem.
So, and this is why when Christ makes, 2 times he talks about Samaritans in a very positive light. We have the parable of the Good Samaritan, that the religious establishment won't deal with this unclean, beaten man, but the Samaritan does. These are people who worship the same God, but in a slightly different way on a different mountain, because of the conquest. That's why I thought it was Babylonian conquest. But the Jews looked down on them at his time, but they are fellow, they're of one of the tribes. I forget which one, but and it's. It's 12 tribes sort of, but it depends on how you count them. But if you remember the under David and Solomon, and I think Solomon's son, it's unified, and then it splits, and so you have the northern kingdom of Israel, the southern kingdom of Judah.
Yeah, there were 18, then there were 11, then there were 9.
Because I think you had 2.5 in the south and the rest in the north, because Levi was in both, and this is also why you end up with 2 different holy cities and all that, and then along. And again, this is where I get back to my comment earlier about Torah versus Talmud. In the Old Testament, in the Torah, when Israel would veer away and started worshiping other gods or having idols in the temple, something would come and attack them, sometimes take them away. And it wasn't until they came back in repentance that they were accepted back. And this is what a lot of these Christian Zionists have got, this weird baloney in their heads. It's not these, a lot of these Jewish leaders they're atheists at best. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're Satan worshipers or not, but they're not Yahweh worshipers.
Yeah.
The reoccupation of the land is after repentance. So, it's like Huckabee and others and they'll talk about, it says the descendants of Abraham from the Wadi of Egypt to the Euphrates. Well, the Ishmaelites are descendants of Abraham too. It's not just one, it's the whole group. Well, guess what?
Hey.
That whole group owns it.
Yeah. You had 3 tribes who are fighting each other still for the control of Lebanon, Israel, Gaza, and Saudi Arabia. Right?
Yeah.
The Saudis long ago decided that they'll make one religion the state religion. They had over a dozen religions before Islam was codified in the 8th century as the only religion. So they had 2 centuries of coexistence before that, before the warlords. Now, the Saudi king, who actually created the warlords, was deposed, right? His lineage was genocided by the current rulers, right? The grandfather. The current ruler's grandfather beheaded all members of the previous royal family, and then declared that only the Rashmati were heretics or something. You know, they weren't true Muslims. That's why it was kosher to kill them all, but it wasn't. They almost had another civil war over that, but the British came in and backed them up, which is why Britain is balls deep in Islam. Because they wanted to beat the Americans to the oil fields. This is the problem with the world. They get the Christian Zionism into their head, which Britain definitely, is up to its eyeballs in, right? Christian Zionism.
Yep.
Believing that if they just hold out, that all these Muslims will convert. Now, yes, the funny thing is most of the conversions have been done by American missionaries in America. But there have been some successes in the Middle East and some successes in Iran. That's why the Islamic Republic was brought about by the French and the Saudis to counter the British. See, a lot of your wars are started by people who were not directly involved.
Well, yeah.
They don't want their hands on the
especially if they don't have to pay the price for the stupidity they go launch.
Yes. Right now,
they profit from it, but if they're not getting the bombs aren't coming through their windows, they don't care.
That's it. So what happens is you get, say, Russia saying to Iran, "We'll back you, but don't attack Israel, right? Stop it. We have a peace treaty with them now. We got what we wanted." But Iran says, "No, we didn't get what we want." So they go. So Russia says, "Okay, we're not going to protect you." And then Iran says, "Oh, fuck you, we'll go to China." And China is just reeling from Venezuela, says, "No, we've got you launched. Don't wait. You got to wait for our ships to leave the port." And then Iran says, "Wait, if we launch the attack now, we can seize the Chinese ships and not have to pay for all the weapons that we just got delivered." So there's a lot of backstabbing as well that goes on in the Middle East.
Oh yeah, well, I think you get that everywhere, right? It's like a
high school.
This setup is human history, right?
Yeah, and right now you go back to Billy Joel and the liberals in the 70s. The liberals in the 70s said, "We didn't start this war, right? So why should we fight it? We didn't start it. It's not our war, okay?"
Mm-hmm.
We didn't start the fire was a whole anti-Vietnam War song, right? That there's all these battles and that none of them had anything to do with us and the consequences of, and even if we win, it doesn't do anything for us, right? So why get involved? So libertarians thought that was a great theme, some great idea, but when you're the biggest kid on the block, what's going to happen? Every little punk is always going to walk up, kick you in the shins, and go, "Ha ha, you can't do anything to me because you're Vietnam or this or that or the other, or it's not your war." So the liberals and libertarians have paid themselves into this anti-war corner, but as soon as something comes along like Zelensky, they're suddenly Zionists again, They're all hypocrites. This is what politics does. If someone, and this is what Gaza's done, right? With the whole narrative of oppression, right? They started talking the language of Marxists, and suddenly all these British Marxists going, "Oh, these poor Gazans, they're the victims." Well, what about the genocide that brought Hamas into power?
Well, and who funded a lot of that stuff? Some stuff Israel funded, some of the stuff we funded through various backward channel organizations. But again, it gets to this was okay. I'm going to paint with a very broad brush here, but it really seems like this was the lesson of World War II, the lesson that was really learned by the people in charge or the shadow government. I don't care what label you want to put on. right? Because look at World War One. We have this massive buildup of arms. We have this horrible war in Europe. We have mustard gas and other stuff that still today there's areas in France you cannot go and break the soil unless you want to die. Okay, is that horrible? And then everybody disarmed until Hitler came along, and then he built stuff back up. The American, the American military in the end of the 1930s was hardly anything. Then we get and I don't care. It's immaterial to me whether we really knew about Pearl Harbor or not. I don't. It doesn't matter.
At the end of the day,
the older Navy that needed to be replaced. That's true, right? Because a lot of it was, hey, we have peace in the world. We don't need all these arms, and we went back to doing other stuff with our money. Then we have to have this huge gear up that eventually culminates in jet engines and nuclear bombs and everything else. And again, I'm going to come back to Eisenhower because he learned the hard way. And too many people went, holy crap, we can make a crap ton of money as long as there's a war somewhere.
Yes.
And ever since then, every time a government's in, and I don't, this latest thing in Iran, I don't care if Israel's got us involved in something. I don't care if it was us. It don't matter. The fact of the matter is the economy was garbage. Trump's policies, the Supreme Court was overturning his tariffs. We are in trouble. We cannot lower interest rates because inflation will explode. And this pattern repeats over and over and over and over again since World War II, in particular, that when stuff gets to be crap, there's somebody starts a war somewhere. And we start printing money like crazy. And nowadays, all we got to do is get on a computer and go click. Oh, look, we have $6 trillion more dollars than we thought had before. But this pattern, and you look at the news, and they divide us a zillion different ways. They keep us scared of everything. Seth, we were making fun of it back in the COVID days. Coming for your toilet paper, all that. I mean, the craziness that happened because people were scared out of their mind, and all of a sudden you couldn't buy toilet paper or tissues or napkins for like 3 months anywhere. You remember it, right? Wasn't it all paper products practically?
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Is if I don't think it's Israel per se. I think someone fed Israel a narrative. I think someone fed Iran a narrative. Iran decides to put a missile on the launch pad and tell Israel, you better not do anything or we'll launch the missile. And Israel is saying, they're getting ready to get, and someone's whispering in Israel's ear, they're getting ready to launch a missile at you. And so Israel bombs that missile. Both of them fell for a third party's manipulation. And the problem is the US will 20 years later say it was all along, right? And they'll hold up a big 3-letter sign.
It's all
and
people have all been dead.
CIA.
Oh yeah, it was right. Well, look at the Rothschilds in the Napoleonic Wars.
Yes, they
funding both sides. Hey, Napoleon. Hey, you can conquer Europe. We'll back you.
Yeah.
Hey, who was I forget? In charge of England. I know it was. Was it Wellington at the battle? It doesn't matter.
Wellington was really in charge.
But you had what was the German? That was Austrian. There was the war of there was a coalition war between Napoleon and Austria and
Hungary.
Yeah, it wasn't Poland. Maybe it was Poland.
Strasbourg, Battle of Strasbourg.
Right, it may have been the first time around, but again. Somebody was whispering in the ears.
It was turned out to be the British ambassador.
Right. Well, and a lot of it, this is where the Rothschilds started.
The Rothschilds,
right?
Yes.
So there's somebody profiting because, and usually it takes at least a couple different things. One, they have to have at least a fair amount of capital or have the belief of others that they have access to capital. And they're controlling somebody who controls the currency of a nation. Right? And this is the problem with fiat currency when they just go print more because it's Tuesday. And then there's got to be some, in our case, Trump, some pawn is the wrong word. I don't know. But someone who has a big enough ego that if you stroke it the right way, they'll do what you want. Right?
Threaten it.
Hey, if you don't do this, they're going to think you're a wimp. hey, if you go over here, you can win this war in 3 days. We guarantee it.
Yeah.
Iran, when we first started months ago, we're just blowing up their nuclear because they are not allowed to have a missile because I don't even know why. Okay.
Nuclear proliferation. Iran did so. Yeah. Iran.
Israel's had nuclear bomb for decades, and and Iran is a long way away. From U.S. and the other day, I think it was this week or late last week. I don't even remember now, but I was listening. It was very rarely I listen to the news, but someone was talking about, and Rubio was talking about, Iran we can't let Iran have their short range missiles. I'm like, their short range missiles won't hit Israel. They won't even. They're not a threat to us. They're not a threat to Israel. Now, medium and long range, maybe, but they're a sovereign country. Why can't they? If this country over here is allowed to defend itself, why can't this country over here defend itself? Why do we have to go? Why do we have to go swatting every hornet's nest we see? How about we leave the hornets alone?
Yeah, I get Iran does have. I agree. Iran has the right to defend itself, but it does not have the right to then take arms, give it to the Houthis, and say take shipping to shut down the Strait of Hormuz unless these ships give us money.
Right. Well, we're arming the Taliban again.
To fight Pakistan.
This is
Pakistan's been armed by the Chinese.
Is it Hezbollah? I forget who they're calling them. They're out of Iraq, but they're calling them they're not Turks. They're calling them
Kurds.
The Kurdish fighters, but they are communist. It's not Taliban. It's one of these other things that 3 years ago we were blowing up because we were tired of them. Well, we did.
Turkey was blowing them up.
We did with Syria.
Yeah.
We finally overthrow Assad, and we put a terrorist in charge.
And what happens? He's now killing Christians. And what happens in Nigeria? And it's the same.
Christians. Wow, it's the same pattern.
It's the same thing every time. It comes down to pleasing our allies.
Well,
how many times has America given up a position of power or strength in the Middle East to please Britain or France because they hold debt?
Yeah,
that's the problem. You allow the debt to control you.
I haven't. I've gone back and forth of whether MI6 really runs our us or not, or we're running them, because it really feels like sometimes they're running us and sometimes we run them.
Yeah, I forget the name of the game, right? You have chips, right? And if you get enough chips, you cash them in and you move your position.
Well, it's
risk. That's it.
Yeah, risk. It's like we're still dealing with 19th century British imperialism. It's just after World War II, the U.S. took over that role. And it's like, because you look at like Pakistan and all these other countries, and they literally look like three British generals were drinking a bottle of gin, and then they drew the map. Because they'll put people on the wrong, and I don't know if it's on purpose or it's just absolute stupidity, but it really feels like it's on purpose. Where they'll say, well, these Hindus if we go this way, the Hindus will be over here, and the Muslims will be here. But if we draw it like this, the Hindus will be attacked by the Muslims, and we'll have some conflict going on here, and they won't be able to do anything about it.
I was going to say, a certain person in the 1940s, I think it was around the 1940s, says, "Look, you want to talk about us in Poland? Let's talk about you and Palestine."
Yeah. But anyway, and I know I'm down. Oh my. No wonder I'm so tired.
It's the same thing, right?
It's the same bull crap over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, Germany had an agreement with the Ottomans. What happened? The British blew up their rail line so the German industry couldn't overtake Britain, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing again in the Middle East. I'm not saying that
this is why we can't have nice things. I agree with the feminists. Men are the reason we can't have nice things.
Yeah. I was going to say,
politics it's the desire to control as opposed to cooperation, right?
But here's the thing, right? Iran was industrializing, and so was Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia says, "Oh no, Iran's beating us to industrialization. Let's start a war.
Yeah.
Let's tell the Israelis that Iran's putting a missile on the launch pad, and then tell Iran that Israel's about to attack their missile test."
Well, you probably remember, Dave, in the 80s.
Yeah.
I thought it was the late 80s. I forget the exact time. And they went around Iraq because they didn't have permission. But the Israelis blew up an Iranian nuclear power plant because the rumor was that it wasn't a power plant, but they were actually using it to do weapons-grade uranium. And I could have sworn it was in the 80s. So 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? For 40 plus years, they've been saying Iran is 2 weeks from a nuclear bomb. Well, you know what? Other than so-called tests, there's only been 2 nuclear bombs ever detonated over anger, and the United States owns both of those. And I'm like, I'm almost to the point where I don't believe there's any nuclear weapons anywhere on the planet anymore. I mean, it's like this boogeyman that they've been swinging around for 70 years, and I'm like, I don't buy it anymore. And it's, but I could swear that was in the 80s. I remember I could have sworn it was when I was living in Germany because I thought I saw a picture of Stars and Stripes.
I think it was 85. I think Iraq had their central reactor blown up, and it caused such a catastrophe that Iraq gave up being joined the Russians. Right, Iraq was so badly hit, they joined. So is it Iraqi
nuclear power plant, not Iranian? But yeah.
No, Iranian. Sorry.
Yeah.
Iranian.
For them, it's showing like they go around Iraq into, I guess that's Saudi Arabian territory, and they kind of come up. Yeah. And I'm like, and it's like each generation forgets. Like it's quiet for a few years, a new generation comes. Oh my God! And they pull the same bullcrap one more time.
And I am convinced it's because you get a bunch of dicks come swinging out of university wanting to prove what good little heroes they are. They see how the game is played, and they'll always take it a step further, right?
Right.
Oh, if this false flag worked, why don't we pull it in? You know, if the British could get away with blowing up this railway, why don't we blow up this railway line?
Right.
You know.
Well, have you ever heard of there's a saying. Right. There's a saying, I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, it's amazing what you can accomplish when no one cares who gets the credit. Have you heard something like that? That is true at team level, and it's true at nation level. And if we could ever get to that point at nations, we would have Star Trek without all the Marxism, because we would want to be like, I don't need to blow up my neighbor. I want to beat him to that star that's 75 light years away. I want to be there first. He can have that plot of dirt. This is one of the things I used to say several years ago. We fight over the dust at our feet, while the stars of the universe are over our heads, and we ignore that because I'd rather go punch my neighbor in the nose and take his cheese, which is absolute stupidity.
I think it was a Frenchman who said in the 17th century, it's amazing what you can get away with when nobody cares what happens after you punch someone in the nose, right? So he's basically saying you go around punching people, but when they don't care, no one cares what you do after that, right? So you don't just punch them in the nose, you rob everything they have.
Yeah.
Right? This is the launching pad to the French Revolution, right? Where people no longer cared what happened when you punched someone in the nose and took their stuff. Whole society turned into thievery overnight.
But if you're gonna punch me in the nose and I shoot you,
then
maybe
they
you
panicked.
care. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when they started disarming the Republic because, they're shooting back.
Yep.
But the people have been lied to about the French Revolution, and getting away with that lie led to the polyglot wars. Getting away with that lie led to the what was the precursor to the war in the Balkans? Right, the war in the Balkans led to World War One, which led to more wars in the Balkans.
That was the Charge of the Light Brigade and all that other crap.
Yeah, Crimean War.
Crimean War, all that.
Yeah. Russia brought it up the other day. How long have the British been trying to seize Crimea?
I'm sorry, Tom. Am I that loud? I'm sorry. I can't hear myself, so I don't know if I'm too loud or not. Sorry. And my
Sorry, I get
son
the same.
took his little puppy and went camping in Kentucky for the weekend. So I have.
Oh, cheese. Yes. Some dogs do love cheese. It's a
No,
bad
our
thing because it
dogs
makes
do.
them fart.
Oh yeah, our
Yeah, it makes
German Shepherd mixes require a cheese tax every time you open the bag.
Nice.
And they come around. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder if I don't think I have that book out of my. No, I don't. Who
But
Moved
as
My
someone
Cheese?
said,
That's a good book to read if you haven't read it.
you know, I think it has actually. Have you read the science fiction book Singularity?
Oh,
Supposedly about the AI and the downfall of mankind.
it sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. I'll go look it up.
Right. And I believe someone said, even if you took AI out of the story, it'll still happen.
Ray Kurzweil.
I'm not sure of the title, but I think it's just called Singularity. It's about the downfall of mankind through AI. And someone said, just replace AI with all Indians and the outcome's still the same.
Okay. Oh, the singularity is near. That's Ray Kurzweil, but that looks like a William Slater.
I'm not sure if it had a subtitle.
Because that's the fiction book. There's also one by Ian Douglas.
Mankind. They use AI as the MacGuffin. Yeah.
Well, it's Penguin Random House.
I'm looking up now. Which one is which? Yeah.
It's not just a playhouse, it's a portal into terror. Probably not it. Because Ray Kurzweil has a nonfiction book called The Singularity is Nearer When We Merge with AI, 2024.
Oh, sorry. Singularity is the subtitle. It is actually called The Downfall of Mankind.
Oh.
It's about superhuman intelligence taking over in 2030. But, yeah. It's cool.
Well,
the Singularity timeline is based on that, updating that book to 2025. Kurzweil. Sorry, updated it.
We're getting. Let's see. Tommy
The original
cheese. Don't say cheese out loud. Golden Retriever starts painting. The dog is a cheese man. This dang dog is bougie. Yes. Hey, unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, we are. I'm running out of energy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got to participate today because I paid attention. So
nice. Well, I'm glad.
But I do have to pee again.
Yeah.
Whether you believe AI is going to downfall mankind is irrelevant. Okay, it is mankind who's ultimately our worst enemy.
We are our worst enemy.
Well, hey, save that for Coffee and Gaming. We can talk about it then.
Coffee and Gaming, yes.
We will be live at 7 a.m. for Coffee and Gaming. Normal time, normal everything. So hang out and we'll get it set up here in just a little bit. But yeah, I guess that's all, right?
Laughing Cow, yeah, love that. Laughing Cow is softer and smoother for
That's
dogs.
made in California.
Yeah,
it was Belgium, but yeah.
Right. That's what I thought it was for, and then I saw a member seeing a commercial for it in California. I went, "What?"
Got bought out years ago. Yeah, got bought out years ago.
What was that was the one in the plastic? What's the cheese that's in the red wax?
Babel.
That's Edam from the Netherlands, and it's not made in the Netherlands either. Most of it's made in the United States.
Of course,
it's different. It's Babel.
You're going to tell me Foster's is not Australian for beer? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Foster's is made in Indonesia.
Well, the Foster's we get's made in Canada, so it's imported.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm getting ready. I'm jumping.
All right.
Buy David's book. Check out Leib's channel. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for Coffee and Gaming. You guys have a great day. Take care. We will see you next time.
Good night, guys.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Good day, sir.
Later, dudes.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Hell, I got to go.
Peace out.
Burn in hell, New World Order. Fuck you. You, New World Order. Fuck you, Bill Gates.
I love you. You gotta do better than that. I love you.